Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to England for the first time in what feels like quite a little while, and we've got a collaboration beer to look at today between two of probably the most respected English craft breweries actually, so I'm very curious to see what these guys have managed to pull together. For this one then we are going to go to Derbyshire and we're having a look at another beer from Buxton Brewery. This one's called The Matters of Perspective. It's an IPA coming in at 6.6% ABV, and it's a collaboration with Verdant Brewing, who are from Falmouth down in Cornwall. These guys are very well known as being one of the big New England hazy IPA producers in England. So yeah, I'm really curious to see what this has in store for us. I'm not sure if this will be a West Coast type IPA or a New England or exactly what it will be, but you know, knowing these two breweries, I think it will be a pretty damn good beer. We do get Buxton fairly regularly over here in Sweden, and Verdant have made a good few appearances through collaborations and things like that. So hopefully we start to get a few more of the, you know, Verdant's own beers here at some point soon. But I think in Copenhagen you can get Verdant beers every so often, so I will need to see if I can pick up one or two of those the next time I make it over to Kiosk in Copenhagen. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, the English guys, I know Craig at Kent Beer Reviews, Dean at Dean's Beer Reviews, Harry Bluenose, Peter the Clueless Drinker, Rob Hopsing, you know, these guys are always Jayco Beer as well, you know, these guys are always reviewing beers from the likes of Buxton and Verdant and things like that. So if you want to keep more up to date on the English craft beer scene, then definitely check all of them out. Very nice guys, and I quite often join them for hangouts and things like that as well. So yeah, but these guys review these breweries a lot more regularly than I will, so make sure you check out their channel. But as I said, very curious to see what these breweries can put together, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer as well. So as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the breweries involved here before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery websites, the link to my other reviews that I've done, both from Buxton Brewery and from Verdant Brewing. No doubt you will see some more added to both of those lists at some point in the near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the English beers that I've reviewed for you. That's being added to whenever I get the opportunity. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Buxton Brewery first off then, since these guys I believe are the home brewery. On to my brewery notes. So as I've told you before, Buxton Brewery are based in Buxton, which is a spa town in Derbyshire in England. The brewery began with the first ever brew by Jeff Quinn back in 2009, and Jeff came from a background in physics and engineering before he started up the brewery, but for a period of time they were cuckoo brewing at another local brewery before getting their own facility up and running, which began in January of 2010. And in the beginning they were brewing 800 litre batches, which is kind of, you know, medium sized. It's not the smallest I've heard of for a craft brewery starting up. But today this brewery can be found on Staden Lane in Buxton. They've got a 7,000 square foot space, and at full capacity they can produce around 60,000 litres of beer per month, and their beers are now exported worldwide. You can find the Buxton beers in Japan. I have seen them in Japan. You can find them in Australia as well. I'm pretty sure I saw the Rain Shadow available down in Australia, which was pretty impressive. But they've won many accolades, and the brewery has been consistently ranked in the top 100 breweries in the world by Rate Beer. So you're always in for a treat if you can get a hold of some of the Buxton beers, and these guys are not scared to try different styles either. But the local area in which this brewery is based is the Peak District, and it's famed for its water, which apparently has been revered since Roman times. The town was apparently held the name Aqua Arnamitiae, which translates to the waters of the goddess of spring. So again, very well revered by the Romans. But most of the beers are named after local geographical and geological features around the Buxton area. Most of the older beers, I should say. But the tower on the number of the Buxton labels depicts a tower which is called Solomon's Temple or Grinlow Tower, and it was actually a folly tower that was simply built for decoration decoration rather than for any kind of strategic military purpose. But since 2013 they've also had their tap house in the old courtyard on George Street in Buxton. That's somewhere that I really want to check out, and as of April 2020 they've produced around 150 different types of beer. Like I said, these guys are one of the most respected craft breweries in England. They're probably one of the first English craft breweries that I heard of, to be quite honest. I remember back in the very early days of Brewdog, which was really my first exposure to craft beer, a lot of people were going on about Buxton down in England as well. So obviously the scene has exploded since then, but yeah, Buxton were one of the first English craft breweries that I heard of, and in my experience the beers that I've had from these guys have tended to be very, very good. One of the beers that I really want to get a hold of from them is Kingslayer, the IPA, so hopefully I can review that one for you on the channel at some point soon. But the Rain Shadow Imperial Stout is one that you definitely want to check out, and I can't remember actually what the other beers I've had from Buxton have been, but they've all been really pretty damn good. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about Buxton Brewery for the moment. One of the older and more established craft breweries in England. I think it's definitely fair to say that about them, but their beers will certainly not disappoint. So yeah, make sure you check out their brewery website in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer and Untappd pages to learn more about all the different beers that they've done. So yeah, on to Verdant Brewing then. We'll go to Cornwall for this one. So as I mentioned earlier, Verdant Brewing are based in Falmouth in Cornwall, and these guys are a bit newer. They were founded back in 2014 by Adam Robertson and James Heffron, who were later joined by Rich, although he did join very early on actually. But Adam was a designer by trade, and James had been a home brewer for a number of years, and Rich was one of the electricians who helped them get the brewery up and running, and he joined them as a partner, like I said. But they ordered their brewing equipment in 2014 and they started brewing their beers the following year. But initially they struggled to get their beers recognised in Cornwall because of the traditional Cornish ale structure, but they were proving to be very, very successful in other parts of England. But they currently are based in the Tregonigi industrial estate in the west of the city. But this brewery was upgraded to a 16 hectolitre system with a weekly brew capacity of 8,000 litres of beer. But later they opened up their restaurant and bar on Quay Street in 2018 after a crowdfunding campaign, and they're now working to open up a new brewery in Penryn, which will be fitted with a 35 hectolitre brewing system. And as of April 2020, when I'm filming this review for you, they've produced in the region of 80 different kinds of beer. So yeah, these guys, as I told you earlier, are one of the really respected kind of hazy New England IPA producers. You've got Verdant, Dea, Cloudwater, Track are very well respected these days, Wylam, these are the big breweries that everybody goes on about. And of course you've got Buxton, who are starting to experiment in the New England styles a little bit, but they are very, very well respected as well. England, as I say, they've got some very, very good craft beer these days. You've got North Brewing as well, you've got Neon Raptor. There's a lot of very, very good breweries over there these days, and I wish I could review their beers a little bit more regularly, but that's how it goes. As I say, you can check out the English guys for reviews on all of these different English beers. They've got some Harry, Dean, Rob, Craig, all of these guys. They've got some very, very nice videos that you can check out for sure. But yeah, that's all you really need to know about Verdant Brewing for the moment. If you want to learn more about this brewery, you can check out the brewery website in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about the different beers that they've done. So yeah, let's get on and actually have a taste of this beer then. So I'll let you have a little quick look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. So, matters of perspective. I do wonder if this is a kind of physics reference. You've always got this thing that you talk about in physics, the point of reference and the perspective and things like that. I do wonder if this is a reference to Richie's kind of physics background that he has. But yeah, the matters of perspective, an IPA, 6.6%. The hops in this one that I have listed are Citra, Mosaic, Simcoe and Equinox. So kind of a classic mix actually. Citra very well known for its tropical fruit, the mango, and then all these little complexities. You can get Simcoe as a very straight up, very smooth kind of passion fruit. Mosaic, as we know, is kind of light tangerine and orangey, and then Equinox is quite a limey hop actually. So yeah, 6.6% IPA this one. Without further ado, let's get it out and we will get on with the tasting. Really curious to see what this one has in store for us. And I'll say straight away when you open this up, Mosaic and Equinox, they come out really nicely. So this is going to be a nice New England. We've got quite an aggressive pour out of that, I have to say. But this beer, I'm pretty sure, will be very, very nice. So yeah, little 330ml can, and it's poured. Really nice. This just looks like pineapple juice or something like that. It's a very kind of murky. I think it's fair to describe this one as a very sort of murky yellow hazy colour. You can see there's a solid finger of a frothy cream coloured head on this one. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones going up towards the bottom of that head there. If I put my fingers behind the glass there, you can see this one is very, very hazy and milky. For 6.6%, it's pretty impressive how kind of hazy this beer actually is, to be honest with you. Normally you'd expect this level of haze from, you know, an 8% or something like that, like a double, triple, sometimes even a triple New England IPA. So the level of haze on this one is pretty damn impressive, I have to say. But I like how that goes together with this beer. Looks very, very nice, but definitely one of the more murky, kind of yellowy colours, this one, rather than anything else. It's not the brightest of oranges, it's not the lightest of yellows, but I think this is very, very nice. So yeah, I like how this goes together. Yeah, let's take a little look at the aroma then and see how we got on. Nothing overly surprising about this beer in terms of its appearance. A nice kind of pineapple-y juice type colour. So yeah, let's have a look at the aroma. Oh, that actually smells very nice. You can really smell the equinaut out of this. The equinaut, the sort of lime notes of the equinaut are really, you know, if you mix Citra, Simcoe and Mosaic, that's quite a classic mix, but you can really just, you can smell all of that, but the limey notes from the equinaut, I think, are playing a big role in this one. That's really nice, that really is. Let's focus on the malt base here for a minute. So with this one, straight away, you can get a little bit of that kind of smooth, white bready, wheaty quality there. There's a little bit of darkness out of it. You definitely get some of the oaty kind of creamy notes, and you've got some nice kind of biscuity qualities in there as well. But this beer, the malt base really strikes me as being very, very smooth. Lots of wheaty notes. It's almost got a little bit of a kind of lactosey type quality to it as well. I'm not sure if this beer did have lactose in it. They would have to say, I think. No, it just says corn malt, havre and veta. Yeah, no, so it's just basically normal malt, oats and wheat. So yeah, that's quite interesting, because this beer does have a little bit of a kind of lactosey note to it actually. Yeah, the aroma really is a little bit more kind of lactosey. To be honest as well, I would say if I was blind smelling this beer, I would think it was a bit more boozy than it actually is. I would probably think that this is like a big 8%er or something like that. Because it really does have, you've got the, as I say, you've got that white bready, wheaty kind of quality to it. You can get a little bit of astringency from the wheat as well, a little bit of that bitiness, but you also have a big kind of thickness from the oaty quality. You can definitely smell a bit of the creaminess from the oats, and it's quite, it really is quite, how do you say, almost lactosey in that way as well. But there's a little bit of a biscuity, kind of caramelly sweetness coming out of it too. I really like how this whole thing goes together. I mean, it smells like quite a big boozy malt base, and it's impressive how prominent that is for a 6.6% beer actually. That is pretty good actually. So yeah, one or two little woody undertones in there as well perhaps, but yeah, I mean, there's nothing overly surprising about this one. The more I smell of it, the more I think it's a bit more bitey and wheaty, to be quite honest. So yeah, the malt base that's in here is really very, very nice in my opinion. So yeah, I like how this all fits together. In terms of the kind of hoppy side of the beer, this one, on the green side of things, it's got a little bit of earthiness, which will be from the Mosaic. You can pick that up in this. There's a good bit of floral aromaticity, and all of the hops in this beer, all four of them, are going to contribute to that a little bit. And I'd say it really leans towards that kind of floral, spicy type note. You've also got a wee bit of just you really have got a nice kind of grassy quality to this beer as well, which is great. yeah, I like how this one, I like how the green side of the hops go together. It comes across almost as a little bit dank, and that sort of suits the kind of thickness of the malt base as well. Like I say, the malt base gives you the impression of a big boozy beer, but it's only 6.6%, so you do get a big bit of that booziness coming out of the beer, I have to say. On the fruity side of things, this is where it gets really quite interesting. As I say, for me, the lime plays quite a bit of, plays quite a big role in this. You can feel the lime from the Equinox just sort of underpinning everything in this. But you get a good little bit of the darker tropical fruit, a bit of a grapefruit, which will be from the Citra. You also get the kind of stronger passion fruity notes as well, which will be Simcoe and also Citra to a degree. That's an interesting point about this. And beyond that, you will get a little bit of the lighter mangoes and the tangerine oranges. The mangoes will come from the Citra, the tangerines, they come from the mosaic, and then on top of that you've got a little bit of a kind of gooseberry, lychee type thing as well, which is some of the complexities you can get from the Citra. So in a lot of ways the hops are showing you the things you would expect, but I think the lime, the Equinox, really plays a big role in this one for me, and maybe it's because I haven't had Equinox in a wee while that it's just sort of kind of playing on my mind that this beer smells really quite limey. But Citra can give you a little bit of a lemon limey quality as well, in fairness. So maybe it's that, maybe the Citra and the Equinox have some kind of antagonistic sort of thing going on where they bring each other out a little bit more. But yeah, the aroma of this beer I think is pretty nice. As I say, it smells a little bit more boozy than it is, quite big and floral, and the fruitiness is quite limey, but you do get the lighter things sitting in on top of that. So yeah, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this beer before you get stuck into it, but we're going to have a taste of this one now and see how we go on. This one is the Matters of Perspective, a New England IPA. It's 6.6% ABV from Buxton Brewery in Derbyshire in England, brewed in collaboration with Verdant Brewing from Falmouth in Cornwall, although soon to be Penryn or whatever. But yeah, let's get stuck in. Sláinte, skål. That's quite nice actually. First impression of this beer, it strikes me as quite a grainy New England, come to think of it. Yeah, it's almost a little bit grainy and a little bit peppery or something. And it still is in good condition, make no mistake about that. Yeah, so it is still in very nice condition, this one, but it does have a little bit of a kind of grainy-ish quality to it. It dries out in the middle of the palate quite interestingly, but it's still got a really lovely juiciness to it. I think this one has been in the can maybe about 5-6 weeks, something like this, so it is really nice, and the juiciness is in a very good condition in this, but the malt base, I think, it's developed a little bit of a kind of grainy thing, and that sometimes can happen with the New England IPAs, but it still goes together really quite nicely, this one. I like this beer. It really smells just a little bit more boozy and things, as I say, and it tastes a little bit more boozy than it actually is as well. But thumbs up to Buxton and Verdant for this one. I think they've pulled off a pretty damn solid beer in my mind. And it's actually a lot more balanced in terms of fruitiness and things. Now I thought it was going to be, you can feel the lime in this one, but the juiciness of the fruits is, for me that's the highlight of the beer actually. It's the way those kind of fruity notes come out in this one. So yeah, let's try and break down the flavour of this one then and see how we get on. So straight away with this beer you can feel that nice white bready wheaty quality, that blankets the middle of the tongue. As you go towards the back of the palate, it's quite, you do get a little bit more of the bitiness of the wheat. You can feel that pushing its way out the further you go into the aftertaste, and as you push kind of further forward from that, you can feel the beer just smoothens out a little bit. You get a nice bit of an oaty creaminess from this beer as well, and then in the very centre of the tongue you get some biscuity qualities there as well, which is very, very nice. Yeah, I really like how this goes together. The biscuity qualities that you have in this in the centre of the palate, it really just gives the beer a nice balance of sweetness. As I say, underneath that you've got a little bit of a light kind of white breadiness. At the back of the palate you've got some wheaty notes. Further forward from that you've got a bit of oaty creaminess, but the kind of McVitie's digestive type biscuits that you get in the centre of the palate are really kind of very, very nice. The malt base on this I think is pretty spot on. I like it when you've got a bit of balance between the kind of the wheatiness and the oatiness and also the smoothness there. Everything in this beer for me goes together really quite nicely. So thumbs up to both breweries for what they've pulled off here. I think this is very, very nice. Yeah, I like this one. In terms of the hoppy side of the beer then, in the back corners of the palate you've got a little bit of earthiness there, which I think is from the Mosaic. As you come further forward along the sides of the tongue you've got some nice floral aromaticity, and it's actually quite spicy as well. And all of these hops, I mean Mosaic is like what, 13-14%. I think Equinaut is around the 12-13% mark as well, as is Citra. I think Simcoe might be 11 if I remember right. So all of the hops in this beer really have very high alpha acid contents, and you can get a nice little bit of that spiciness out of the beer. They might have, I wouldn't be surprised if Columbus is in this beer as a bittering hop as well, because it does have a little bit of that more kind of spicy, dank quality. So I wouldn't be surprised if the four hops that I've mentioned are bittering hops. No, sorry, are dry hops, and if these are added later in the brew, and then they've got something like Columbus used as the bittering hop. I think that's maybe what's going on in this beer. Columbus is a bittering hop, and then the four hops are listed as dry hops or late add hops. I think that's what's going on in this one. But then round the very front curve of the palate you've got a little bit of that lighter grassiness there, but there is just something distinctive about the kind of floral spiciness out of this beer that makes me wonder if there is Columbus. It's not quite strong enough to be Chinook, I don't think. I think it's more Columbus, pardon me, that's in this one. In terms of the fruity side of the beer, this one, as I always say, you can feel that little oily bubble just rolling out on the very kind of front part of your tongue there, and that's where you get the juicy fruity esters out of the beer. So yeah, on that fruity side of things, if you go towards the back of the fruity part of the palate, you've got a nice kind of grapefruity quality there. You get some of those darker fruity notes, and as you push further forward you get a wee bit more of a kind of passion fruity note in there as well, a little bit of a mango. And then as you push further forward from that you start to feel you can feel a little bit of the tangerine orange, but just underneath you can feel the limey notes. So as I say, the sort of grapefruity kind of thing, that will come from a mixture of what I suspect is Columbus. I do think there is a little bit of Columbus in there, possibly Chinook, although it's a bit too spicy I think to be Chinook. But yeah, you do have a bit of grapefruit quality there. Then it's passion fruit as you come further forward. You feel the juicier mangoes from the Citra. The Simcoe will give you some of that passion fruity note as well. And then as you move further forward you get a few other tropical things in there. You get a nice kind of orangey tangerine note from the Mosaic, and then you can feel some of the lime from the Equinaut in there as well. As you reach the kind of front edge of the tongue, you do almost get a little bit of a kind of citrusy, zesty quality there, and that'll be down both to the Citra, which will give you some lemon limey notes, but also to the Equinaut, which is giving you a more kind of straight up lime. So I mean, if you know these hops, this beer really gives you everything you'd expect, but it just goes together really pretty nicely in my opinion, and I like what this beer has to offer. Overall I'd say that this one, it's a very smooth and quite thick feeling IPA, but it's got some really nice, it's got a good balance between the kind of tropical notes and the kind of citrusy type notes as well, which is interesting. So I like how this, I really like how everything in this one goes together actually. This is a very nice New England IPA, so thumbs up to both Buxton and Verdant Brewing for this one. This is a beer that has made me think a little bit. And I like beers that do that. You don't, you know, when you've reviewed about 2100 beers, you want things that are going to make you think a little bit, and this one certainly has done that. And the more and more that I drink of it, the malt base, I think, becomes just a little bit more kind of grainy, if you like. So yeah, pay attention to that with this beer. This one's got a really nice variety of things going on in it, but it's a little bit quirky, and you know, both of these breweries are very well respected in England, and particularly Verdant. These guys are very good at the hazy side of things. I've not had and not seen too many hazy IPAs from Buxton, but you know, they are a very capable brewery in my experience. So they've pulled off something that I think is really quite nice here. So thumbs up to both of them. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say this is quite a full-bodied beer. The carbonation is very smooth. To me, you've got a balance between the creaminess and the oiliness in this beer. In terms of hoppy bitterness, I think we're talking about 40 IBUs with this one. You know, you do have a good little bit of spiciness out of this, 40, maybe even 50 IBUs. This one just feels a little bit more spicy than some of the other ones. But yeah, nice, as I say, nice smoothness, little touch of sweetness to the malt base. They're almost kind of creamy as well, and lovely kind of balance between the lighter, juicy tropical fruits and also a little bit of that more kind of citrusy, zesty quality as well. But yeah, this is a really nice New England IPA. This could easily pass for being more boozy than it actually is. But yeah, it's nice to try this one, and always interesting to try new beers from Buxton and Verdant as well. So let's leave it at that. This one was the Matters of Perspective, a 6.6% IPA, New England IPA from Buxton Brewing in Derbyshire, and Verdant Brewing, who are from Cornwall, both in England, of course. So yeah, hopefully I can review more beers from both of these breweries at some point soon. If you want to see things more immediately, I guess you could say, make sure you check out Craig at Kent Beer Reviews, Dean at Dean's Beer Reviews, Harry at Blue Nose, Peter the Clueless Drinker, Jaco, and you've also got Rob Hopsine as well. These guys are reviewing the English beers very regular. There are other English beer tubers out there too who are just kind of starting up and starting to make contact with us, so you know, I'll keep you up to date on those as well, hopefully. But make sure you check out this beer if you get the chance, and it was really nice to return to both of these breweries after quite a little while. The Matters of Perspective, a collaboration between Buxton Brewery in Derbyshire in England and Verdant Brewing in Cornwall in England, coming in at 6.6%, one of our Tillfällig assortment beers in Systembolaget here in Sweden for March, I think it was, 2020. Slange, skull, catch you guys very soon, and make sure you check out this beer. Cheers.